Hi, it's 6 o'clock, and I want to welcome everyone who's out there for our first session of Apart But Not Alone. And I want to take this opportunity to let you know a little bit about what's going on here. So, we can be thankful for this session for United Way Simcoe Muskoka. They provided us with the ability to reach out and secure Elke Scholes. And Elke, I've known her for years, and everyone knows she's a very talented artist as well as author, and the famous anxiety warrior from many sessions. So we're so pleased to have you, Elke. And I'll just say, Elke has her master's in expressive arts therapy, coaching, consulting, and education, has a minor in psychology, and she's an internationally certified EMDR therapist, a member of good standing of the College for Therapy. And I may have missed something. There's many other wonderful little tidbits in your biography, Elke, but I just want everyone to know that we have a trust and a knowledge that you will lead us in great direction, and the pathway won't be as rocky as maybe some of us fear it might be. So I also want to take this opportunity, many of you registered and had this lovely soft-spoken individual sitting beside me. This is Anita, and Anita is a student placement in her last year of social work, and we were so fortunate to snag her. So I just want to say in closing that Anita is your go-to person. So if you have questions throughout, you can raise your hand, or you can enter on the chat line if you want to direct a question and answer to someone directly so that no one knows you're here. We're the only ones on the screen because we want to protect your privacy, but you are free to ask questions as we go along. So I'm not going to say anything else, which for those of you who know me, know that this is brief for me. And thank you for attending, and have a good evening. I plan to.
Well, thank you, Sandra and Anita. And this is just such an amazing opportunity, and I'm just excited about it. And so what I'm going to do is just give a little brief overview of the workshops. Today, I'm just going to briefly share my story, why I do this work, why it's so important for all of us. One of the things we're committed with is to right away give you strategies in every session. And I believe you all got a handout, which we'll go over. I'm not going to read it, however, it's there, so you don't have to take notes. And so we're going to talk a little bit about anxiety. We won't get through all of the introduction, though what I'm hoping to in all the subsequent sessions is that we get to do some activities and strategies along the way. And one of the things that for sure that I want and I invite everybody to do is to give us your feedback. You know, let Anita know, let Sandra know, let me know, write in your questions, because this is really for you. We all have ideas of how we want to help you. However, it's really to meet your needs. And I know people have come with different goals and hopes in mind, like anxiety and loss. Some have compassion fatigue. Some are looking for self-care, and some are just feeling really isolated. I must say I do enjoy Zoom, and it does get us a chance to connect and see our faces. Some of the activities will include guided meditation and journaling, and also some vision boarding. And hopefully I'll be giving you some tasks, and they're just tasks if you've got time to do them and get ready for next week. And of course, we're hoping that everything is approachable. So if there are questions, like I said, in some of the techniques, please do feel free to let us know. So barring that, and then I've also invited Nathan and Sandra and Anita, if they've got questions, certainly to voice them, and they'll signal me. Now, if we don't answer everybody's question or whatever the feedback is. We certainly will address them in subsequent sessions. So I'm hoping that works out for everybody. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay. As a child, and going back, I won't say how far. However, we didn't talk about anxiety. We didn't talk about stress or depression or symptoms, and a lot of times it was looked at behavioral issues. And I was one of those kids that I had flu-y symptoms and migraines. I was the child that sat in the back of the class. If someone else got in trouble, I was shaking in my boots quietly, even though I wasn't the one in trouble. As a teenager, I stuttered pretty badly. And even as a young adult, and sometimes now I mix up my words, so everybody knows what I'm saying. As a young adult, I suffered with depression, though I didn't know that at the time. I felt like I was hiding a big secret, and I didn't talk about it. I thought that I was just wearing a mask and didn't want anybody to know the suffering. And I thought something was wrong with me. And I think that brings us to, fast forward to today. In my private practice, what I notice is so many people, probably almost every client comes in with anxiety and wanting strategies, and a lot of times thinking something's wrong with them. And that's not the case at all. There's nothing wrong with us. Anxiety is a human condition, albeit an unpleasant one. However, it's giving us a signal. It's trying to tell us something. And that's what I'm hoping in these sessions, that maybe instead of feeling so bad about anxiety or feeling like something's wrong or that you're failing when you have some of these symptoms, that you feel like maybe anxiety is really just trying to communicate with you and let you know what you need, what your body needs, what your life needs, what attention we need to look at and bring into our lives. The other thing that has made me want to do this work and driven the passion is that, and these stats are a few years old and they're prior to 2020, is that 500,000 Canadians miss work every week due to stress and anxiety. And I know it's more now. And the same with young people. And these stats again are prior to 2020, is that 30% of our young people are suffering from anxiety, and that's twice as high as it was about 40 years ago. So, we can spend a whole session as to why, and maybe some of these strategies that we talk to will address that. And my belief is that the good news is these strategies are manageable. They're things we can do right now. They're things that you can do immediately. We're going to be talking about them today, and that you can start working on them and using them right away. So one of the big ones is the scale of 0 to 10, which I want to have everybody just start being aware of. So 0 is that calm place. It doesn't necessarily mean we're happy. However, it means that we're calm. So there's no body disturbance. So we're just feeling at ease, perhaps at peace in some way. So that's 0. And then 10 is like over the top. I'm not thinking well, maybe my heart is beating or hurting, I'm sweating, or maybe I'm not thinking at all. And sometimes we have that blank slate. Maybe it feels like short circuiting, but everybody's a little bit different of what our 10 is. So it's really, really important to understand where you're at in the numbers. And the reason for that is all along as we present strategies, as we're doing some of these activities together, is notice where you are at in your body. And every body, and I emphasize body, every body is different. So it's really about your numbers, and it's really about what strategies work for you. And this scale is a simple scale. It's something you can teach young people. 0 to 10, you know, what is that number? So just taking a moment now, I just want you to just check in, and you don't have to share your number, but note it. Note the number that you have right now. Where are you at? 0 to 10. Oh, okay. And actually, too, it doesn't always have to be 0 to 10 around anxiety. It can be 0 to 10. What is your body disturbance? So anxiety is a funny word. Some people have asked me, is stress different than anxiety? Anxiety does show up in many, many different ways. And I know that in the book, we talk about physical, cognitive, behavioral, and emotional. So some physical symptoms, as you see in the list, you know, might be tightness, stiff neck. Cognitive could be different ways of thinking, worry, thoughts. Behavior could be nail biting or hair pulling. Emotional could be nervousness or, you know, feeling defensive or frustrated. Those are some of the few. So what your level is, and as a task, what I'd invite you to do in the coming week or weeks, whenever you'll be able to join us again, is notice your body. So through the day, you know, even on waking, what does your body feel like? And where are you 0 to 10? And, you know, maybe you have a morning practice, or maybe you're going to have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Where are you at 0 to 10? Just start noticing those numbers in your body, because one of the things is awareness. And the more that we are aware of where we're at in our bodies, then we can make changes. And again, like I said, it's your body. So we might be offering you strategies here and your body might not like them. And that's really okay, because it's really what you need, not what we're suggesting. And just like the weather, I mean, some people just love the winter. Notice how your body feels. That's all. Notice how your body feels when the sun peeks out of the clouds and we get those dramatic colors, or the wind is hurling around. Some people like it, some people don't. It's okay. So just notice that. So the other number I want you to notice and think about, and that this one could be one that you may think about later, is what number for you is a number where it's a slippery slope up. And so what I mean is, okay, I'll give you myself as an example. Right now, I know I'm not a 0, but I don't want to be. I'm excited. So I'm a 1 or 2. So that feels good. I like that. And that's the number I'm happy with through the day. Now, if I wake up or some things happen in my life and I become a 4 or 5, so that again is a number for me. It may not be your number. That's when I'm going to pull out my strategies. So I'm going to start going through that list. What do I need to do? Because I don't want to go up to 10. And I know that if I'm a 4 or 5, it won't take me much. And, you know, I'm up at 10. So what is that number for you? And again, everybody's a bit different. Think about that and take a note of it. And that's okay. It's wherever that is for you. And also think about, like I mentioned, the 1 or 2 for me. Some people are really comfortable with the 3, 4. I met somebody that was very comfortable with an 8. Anxiety motivated them and they liked it. So everybody's different. And again, just notice what those numbers are for you. Okay. So one of the things I don't know if you have the handout in front of you, but it's attached and it may have been sent to you. And it just is a 1-sheeter on definition of anxiety. So different types of anxiety and some of the layers of where anxiety comes from. So that's how we're going to start today. and we'll just do as much as we can. Anyways, any questions to address at this point or comments? No? Keep going.
I think for anybody that doesn't have the handout, what I'll do is momentarily post a link to it in the chat, and you can pull it up on your computers. Okay?
Okay. Thank you. So the definition of anxiety is, there's a few, I guess, feeling of worry, nervousness, unease. Usually it's anticipatory. Anxiety is almost expectant, or thinking that maybe something may happen. It could come as in agitation, angst, some tension, nervousness, something like that. And fear is different than worry. So fear, and this is important just to think about, because the more that we understand it, the more that we can figure out how can we change it? How can we manage it? And the good news is that we can. So, so fear is something real, and we need that as again, as our human condition. We wouldn't be alive as humans if we weren't afraid of the dinosaurs and the brontosaurus, or whoever's chasing us in the woods. Some of you heard me tell that I was chased by a skunk in the woods walking, and I must have been close to a den. So that's fear, running away from a skunk. Now, subsequent days after that, I was nervous, wondering, is that skunk going to come and chase me? And I still, when I go to that part of the woods, I'm a little more vigilant and I look around. So anticipatory anxiety at a very low level. However, you can see there's some usefulness there to be aware, just to be aware. So the definition of worry, another one, and it comes from the English derivative raigon, which is angle. And that's kind of what it feels like. And so we will be talking about looping thoughts and chronic worry. And what does that, well, we kind of know what that feels like and looks like. So again, as we go through some of these strategies and where anxiety comes from, think about it, where it comes from for you. And what fits right for you, and what's your limit? What's your capacity? If you can only handle one big thing, or what that is. Sandra?
I just I've been talking to someone in the audience, and I'm not sure whether that person would like to speak to you now, but if they have a question, they can raise their hand, and we'll let Elke, like Nathan will let Elke know so that she can get her question addressed. So, and if you want opportunity for feedback, we can allow that when there's a break in the conversation or after that point is completed. So I just wanted that individual to know, so if they wish, they can just raise their hand. And do you see that on the bottom of the screen? Or just alert me. You can alert me the way you did that you want to say something, and I'll put my hand up, and then Elke will know. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the easiest. It's not that I would prefer interruptions, absolutely. And I can't see everybody on the screen, but we're doing that so I'm not distracted, because it would be very distracting. So yeah, go ahead.
I am curious whether there will be an opportunity. It doesn't seem as though this has been set up. As I understand, this is to be partly to address COVID, right? Fears about COVID, losses about COVID?
I think it will include all that, because it's loss in general, and definitely fears. And so if there's something specific, I think.
So I'm just curious. I'm curious as to whether other participants will be able to, well, okay, I could use some support. So that's one of the reasons I would join the class. I am surrounded by people who don't understand why I'm as anxious as I am. And I'm just feel as though I'm completely alone in my anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It happens that we do feel alone, and that's why we're doing the Zoom.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that these strategies and that you can apply them for sure. It's very present. The workshop is for now, for our
Okay.
world right now. Yep.
Thank you then.
I just want to say to Elke that if you wish to reach out to us afterwards and Anita and talk more, then we can certainly have lots of time. So you're going to learn some important points and tools from Elke, and we will stop to hear comments for sure. But it's been set up sort of like to learn from it as well. So if there's anything you want to talk about for any length of time afterwards, then just call Anita at work tomorrow and have a discussion with her, and she'd be happy to listen. And anything that is she feels she needs to refer back to Elke, she can do that. So I won't say anything more now, Elke, but that sort of straightens that out for people.
This is interactive, and this is our first session. So we're feeling all this out, and it's like a classroom, a virtual classroom that we're trying to figure out and meet all your needs. So just know that I echo what Sandra is saying. And I'm hoping, and one of the things that I find with anxiety and especially with what's happening this year is whatever we were coping with or managing before, it's almost like we've had this huge sack of potatoes dumped on us, and that scale of balance that we have is now very much unbalanced, and everybody is struggling with that in some way or another. And so I'm hoping, we might not, one of the things with anxiety is it's not about making it go away 100%. It's about lowering it. And what's a manageable number for you? And what strategies do we need to do for that self-care, for to feel better, to feel happier, and to thrive? And we all deserve to thrive. And I just, this whole thing I think is so supportive, and these opportunities that we have right now with what hospice is offering and what Anita is offering it's priceless, and truly priceless. So grateful for that. So should I keep going for now? Okay. So one of the things that happens, and I'm just going to go a little systematic here, and these are some of the easy changes that we can make, and it is about substance. And substance can be something as simple as water. And it's interesting to me, and this has come up many times, is even if you wake up in the morning and you're already anxious, it is likely your body telling you that you are dehydrated. And the brain will give signals to the body of anxiety. And it doesn't mean you have to drink a lot of water when you wake up, just a little bit in a glass. And if that goes away in 20 minutes or even 10 minutes, then you know that you probably need to drink some water upon waking, and be mindful of that. And I've had clients where something as simple as that, where they were running at a 5 or a 6 with anxiety, it took it down 1 or 2 notches just by making sure they were hydrated. So it sounds simple. It's just something to remember. And of course, our caffeinated drinks do the opposite. They take water from our bodies. So we need to just be mindful of of that. And alcohol does the same. As much as we think it may relax us, it actually takes water from your body. Cigarettes, the same. People will say, you know, a cigarette calms them. However, it's robbing your body of oxygen, which again will increase anxiety-like symptoms. So it's just really, really important to be aware of that. And then the other thing, again, with your body, and so again, I'll give a family example, is if I have caffeine, I'm awake. Like if I can have caffeine or chocolate or something like that, sugars, my cutoff point is 3:30. And, but my brother, he can have a chocolate cake for dessert after supper and high test coffee, and he's asleep in minutes. So every body is different. So just know your body. So when I give these kind of little tidbits, it's about supporting your system and what's right for you. And as for substances, one of the things that we don't think about, and I'd like to invite you to think about, is that our nervous system sometimes needs extra support. So when we're extra stressed, it's important to get your minerals and calcium and magnesium feed your nerves. And some people take B12s and some B vitamins. You know, do some research on that. It's, you know, if you're working out, I mean, we know when athletes, they work out, they're feeding their muscles. And if you're doing that type of workout, you know that you've got to feed yourself differently. And especially, so then if we go with our nervous system and we're in times of extra stress, it's a really, really important to feed our nervous system, and it makes such a difference. So it, again, it may not take the anxiety away, it certainly can lower it. So it's something to look into. And, you know, I'm not a doctor or naturopath. However, we have a lot of resources in our community, and they're very willing to share. And yeah, so if there's anything more you'd like to know about that, I can share what I know, and we can go from there. Having said that, to sugar and carbs, some of us are more sensitive than others. And it's interesting because, you know, having just past Halloween, a lot of children will get colds or because of the sugars and the carbs if their bodies react to it. And everybody against is different. So just be mindful of that, and just notice. It doesn't mean that we're allergic, but we just may be sensitive. Okay. And it can lower that number by 1 or 2 points. And that's what we're always looking for. So if we can do that, that'd be great. Is that okay? And keep going? All right. I'm just checking for the panel. They're giving me the heads up. So physical, and this will actually, I have a task for the weekend, and with physical. So one of the things too in this whole workshop, what we're trying to do is give you strategies to be the best you can be physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. So physical, one of the things to pay attention to is getting enough sleep. And that is sometimes a challenge. I know I protect my sleep. It's important to get good sleep every night. We need it to rejuvenate. And if this is something that is some of you are noticing you're having restless sleep or not getting enough sleep, it's certainly worth being a detective and trying to figure out why that is. And we need our rest. Our bodies need to rejuvenate. Our immune system needs to rejuvenate as well. So enough sleep is so, so important. And good sleep hygiene, you know, we can talk a little bit more about that. It'll come up with some of the other issues. And yeah, anyways, so physical. this weekend is supposed to be a great weekend. So how can you go outside, stock up on some of that sunshine that we're supposed to get and some of those warm temperatures, connect with nature and be physical? Maybe there's even some outdoor chores or yard things you can do. Or maybe you just want to sit on the porch and enjoy that warm weather and just soak it all in. So physical, how can you be physical in the next few days and really, really enjoy some of this warm weather before we hit winter? And making sure that, you get some of that sunshine and drink enough water. So exercise is another big one. And maybe some of you have heard this before, and we need those endorphins, and exercise is so important. And one of the things is we're so lucky to be up here in Muskoka to we have the space here. We have nature, the lakes, we have some amazing trails. Even my neighborhood, I mean, the dirt road, it's just spectacular. We're so lucky and so blessed to be here. And let's get outside, get healthy, get some exercise. And even as simple as walking is one of the best things. I mean, if you're into other things too, like cycling, I know one of my friends is still canoeing in the cold weather. I'm not sure I recommend it. But certainly get out there and get active. And that's going to really help you with your endorphins. It's really going to help with your sleep too. So physical. And the other thing on physical is notice your food sensitivities. And I know people do pay attention to that. And if you're suspicious, is trust yourself. Trust yourself and experiment. And, maybe do some more research on food sensitivities. It's not always allergies, but sometimes our systems are a little more sensitive to other substances. And another physical cause of anxiety could be hormonal. And, if you've, been taking this workshop and you've been, going through your checklist and you've been doing your strategies and you're still feeling really not well, and that anxiety is stopping you or making you feel so terrible that it's stopping you from everyday chores or whatever, is check it out medically, because there are things in our system that can give us those symptoms, and it may be physical. It could be totally physical. So it's important to rule out everything, I guess, and figure it out. And like I said, everybody is different, and really do trust yourself. If, some of this, what we're talking about, resonates with you, trust that. If it doesn't resonate with you, trust that too. Really understand who you are and what's going on for you. So any questions anything coming up? No, we're good. Oh. Yep.
So I think we have, perhaps we have a question to all the panelists. If the individual who was really experiencing a great deal of anxiety due to COVID-19, someone wondered if you're looking for moral support, or is it because, just recognizing that you're not alone? Perhaps Elke can tell us, or any of us can tell, how many are participating in the program. So we told them there's 14, so that's good to know. It means you're not alone. And so the fact is there's 14 people besides these panelists experiencing various levels and different kinds of anxieties. And so I just wanted to bring that to attention, because we've got this chat going on over here, Elke, which you can't see probably, so, or are aware of. So I think that that's really good to know, that we start at one place and maybe we don't know anyone, but we know we're here for a common reason. So that is binding in itself. So, and the only other thing I was going to say about your comment on exercise, I think that's great. And and being, even, you can be isolated in your home and you can be isolated outside, but somehow if there's sunshine and it's fresh air, it doesn't feel as fearsome as maybe you're being indoors, And I think a lot of the anxiety in this particular pandemic has to do with being indoors. So, that's really can be fearful for people. So I just wanted to bring those comments up.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And before we get started, we'll just have an attendee with a question. So
my question is, with anxiety, you were talking about numbers and how like it goes up and it goes down. I find mine presents in my body. So I don't really feel like anxious, worried, but I get like a lot of aches and pains. I sleep I go to bed probably between 10 and 11 at night, and I wake up around 7 in the morning, and I'm still constantly tired. I do find though, when things are going better for me, I'm not as tired, or the aches and pains kind of subside a little bit. But that's how I feel it presents in me, is like, my arm will hurt, I'll get a headache, or my neck will hurt, my back will hurt, or I'm limping, like I'm walking and I just start limping, my feet all of a sudden hurt, things like that. So is that like another sign of anxiety?
Yeah, everybody's different. We're all so different, and our bodies really are signaling us. And that's what I mean about this awareness is the more that we're aware of what our bodies are signaling. Like our society, we're so cognitive, and we're very much thinkers, talkers, and we forget to be in our bodies. And that's happened over time. It's not that it's wrong or right. It's just the way our society is. So then we get into thinking, and that's some of the things that we'll talk about too. Is when we're overthinking, or we're getting past our bodies. And if your body is giving you an ache, again, listen to it. And it sounds like you are. And when things shift, your body shifts. So yeah, stay with that. And it'll be really interesting as we explore. And I hope that you stay with us so we can do that. And I think we have one more question. And I do want to just say to what Sandra, to speak to what Sandra said, is you're right. We're all coming here with anxiety, and I know I'm the anxiety warrior, but there's a reason. And just because I'm here, and yesterday, I have to tell you, I was having a major meltdown, and Nathan knows that, and bless his soul, was helping me through it, because my internet was going off and on. And I really literally have spent hours to make sure that the internet is okay, and I'm exploring some backups. So we're not immune from it. and yes, with everything that's going on, we've been stretched. And when I say that, and I know Anita and Nathan and Sandra, we've been stretched beyond all our strategies, beyond all our tactics and self-care, and in mental and emotional and physical and spiritual, and have had to be creative beyond creativity, and find our resilience again. And that's what we're doing here, is just having this opportunity to share that. And we're supporting each other all the time. We don't do this by ourselves. We are pack animals. We're meant to be together. We're meant to live in tribes. We're meant to be in communities. And we're here. And I know Sandra many times has supported me and vice versa. And that's what we're doing here. Yeah, totally. And there was one more question, I think, Nathan, I saw pop up.
Yeah, actually, directly, we wanted to know how anxiety affects memory.
How anxiety affects memory?
Yeah.
Absolutely, it does affect your memory. And that's a great question because it also affects our young people. And anxiety can so block out memory. It will affect us in not remembering things or in whether it's day to day, whether it's going to the grocery store and wondering why we're even there. It can affect a memory of learning where it's hard to even focus on reading or anything, even a conversation. It can be that strong. So know that you can manage this. Sandra did mention that I do EMDR and I work, a lot of my clients have had serious trauma, our first responders. And yeah, so simple tasks like math, memory, remembering somebody's name, even family members is common. It happens. And when the anxiety is managed and healed, that all comes back. It didn't go away. It gets blocked. So I hope I'm answering that question. And I know more questions are coming in. And I think one of the things too we're going to talk about is presence. And I want to give that as a strategy. We still got good time here.
Okay. Now,
And
Elke,
one of the
before you
things that,
do,
and that again is, yep, go
before you-
ahead. Yep.
before you do move too far forward, let's just allow one more question in, if we could.
Okay. I'm just going to make a note too, because I think it will answer. Okay.
Hi. My question is in regards to PTSD and having like sleep disturbances, and having a sleep study done, and you know, being told like, you know, the brain doesn't forget. So I understand you were talking about EMDR, and I understand in regards to, you know, what you eat and your exercise and you know, vitamins and minerals. I just wanted to know your take in regards to being able to, you know, heal your brain.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe we can heal our brain. PTSD, OSIs, they're brain injuries, and sometimes we call them moral injuries. And yeah, that can be a whole workshop in itself for sure. You can heal your brain. It's been hurt. Yeah, it's been hurt. So we need to heal it just like we do another organ or a muscle. And it's just that we don't see the brain. And the other thing the brain does is a lot of times we think we're our brain, and that's not the case. The brain is an organ and it has collected data and has learned things, and whether that's a trigger or a reaction. So yeah, that can be managed and changed. That's the short answer. But yeah, we can always address that some more too. So I hope that helps, Shelley. One of the strategies, and I'm going to go into this, and I think it'll address with the way the body reacts, and it does address anxiety, and it also addresses post-traumatic stress, is presence. And again, coming back to this scale that that I was mentioning, it sounds simple. However, it really helps us to stay present. And it's one of the things that if you get 2 words out of this whole workshop is awareness and practice. So awareness is about the presence, being present. And some of you are asking about, you know, the conditions of the world right now. And again, it's about being present. present with yourself, present with your home, present with, your friends, present with this Zoom. Like we're here together, like Sandra said, is presence. And it's just so important. And I don't know your different situations. However, and this is going to be one of the strategies we're going to work on in one of the workshops. We're going to practice journaling, and part of it is I call it joy, gratitude journaling, and it has changed my life. And it helps to be present. It helps me to be present. It helps me to choose how I want to think about things and, what's going on here. And you know what? They can take everything away from us, but they can't take what's in between our ears. That belongs to us always, 100%. And we can change those thoughts. Here's a fun fact. We have 50,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 50,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and we can change those thoughts. A lot of those thoughts are repetitive. If they were all different, we'd all be talking a mile a minute and whirling dervishes all over the place. And so we can change those thoughts. And just a quick story, and it did get me on this path, is I remember about 15 years ago driving down the highway. Actually, no, it was further than that, 20 years ago, because I was driving a Ford station wagon. We don't have station wagons anymore. And I was going down the highway feeling really good. Nathan's heard this story. And 20 minutes down the road, I wasn't feeling good. My thoughts had changed, and I went, wait a minute. And I noticed, and I just went, what am I doing here? Nothing has changed. The road was good. It was sunny. Nothing was wrong with my vehicle. But what was going on in between my ears was different. And as much as what's going on in our lives, we can still control what's going on in between our ears every single day, every single moment. So, and that moment, and I didn't know that at the time. I hadn't gone to school. I hadn't studied this. However, it was a very pivotal moment for me. And I just went, you know what? I'm going to change channels. I'm going to think differently. And so I did. I made up a little fantasy and a little dream. And I mean, I was still paying attention to driving, of course. And I arrived to my destination feeling really good. Anita, you've got a question?
I just wanted to mention, like in regards to what you just said, what comes up for me is the whole curiosity. When you start to become curious about a feeling that comes up or a thought you're having, it's almost like you said, it was a pivotal moment. Then it's almost you're becoming aware, and sort of there's a little bit of space in between what the pattern maybe in your brain and now, right? So I just think that curiosity might be something you can use to start to become cognizant of what your brain's doing, and that you're not necessarily those thoughts in your head.
Absolutely. And curiosity is one of my favorite words of all time. It's a great word. And I think that's a great invitation for our participants is, can we bring curiosity to this whole process? And there may be confusion, and that's okay, of how do we change channels in some of these times? And we can change channels and make choices of how we enter our day. We can do that, and how we enter a program or enter our job or the family or supper. We can make that, we can shift anytime. We can change the channel. We can do that. We have that. And it's so important to be able to do that. And we can talk about it, and it's practice. And I think, and Anita, like you're saying, is be curious about that, and bring the curiosity to yourself And even the numbers. I mean, you might go through tomorrow and be really surprised and go, whoa, I didn't know that that was feeling so good. Or I didn't know. And you know, one of my teachers said, practice with small things. So what I practice with is how to get what I'm going to wear today. And what am I moved towards? What makes me joyful today? Just in getting dressed in the morning. It's a simple thing. However, it helps you practice listening to your body. And the more that you do that, your body is not wrong. Your body isn't wrong. And I've had really good teachers help me with that. And you're going to hear us going through that a few times throughout these sessions, and just pay attention. And you're right. You know, what is that? Notice what your body's going through. Yeah. So I think, well, we've got a few minutes. I'm not sure to bring another layer of anxiety, but if there's any questions, and I do have another small task for us for next week. Yeah, Sandra?
I just wanted, while I was listening to you, Elke, the curiosity is an interesting thing because it helps diffuse the power of what's changed too. So if you're able to be present to the difference that you're in your feelings and your emotions, then that gives you, if you can ask questions about where that came from, it's actually diffusing the original thought that changed the way you were feeling too. So
Absolutely.
you feel less threatened.
And you're actually using a different part of your brain. When you start being curious and asking questions, you automatically, create some space between whatever you're feeling or experiencing. When you go into curiosity, it automatically gives you a bit of distance between maybe that anxiety or feeling because you're using a different part of your brain.
Yeah.
Now, I can't tell you the science behind that, but it's true.
Right. It's experiential. And I think that's the part you're trying to share, is that you've had this experience, and these experiences that we're sharing, it may not be, I know there's different types of strategy of research. However, experiential research is very valid. And you're right, it is true. It is very true. And it does shift in our thinking. And I think that's what part of this is, what we're doing here is, looking at what we have and what's left and what is present in our lives, and how do we shift that. And you're right, is when we start asking questions, it does shift.
Okay, looks like maybe Elke's having some actual internet difficulties that are interrupting her ability to provide feed. I'm not seeing her at anything other than frozen. Go ahead, Sandra, yeah?
Someone has asked, just one second, Nathan.
Yeah.
They'd like to ask about different approaches and how to respond.
If you can just clarify what specifically are you asking? Different approaches to tackling the anxiety, or what specifically do you mean by your question? Maybe one of us could address it somewhat.
Okay, so it's actually it's kind of a long story. I'll try to make it short. I'm in counseling with my husband right now, and the counselor is believes that anxiety can, if I'm not mistaken, he believes that anxiety can be cured, and I'm feeling quite a lot of pressure to magically, make it well, and I'm not quite sure how to respond to that.
Okay, to respond to curing your anxiety?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
and actually, Sandra, if you want, I've got Elke on the line with me, and she can answer indirectly or directly through my line. You'll just be looking at me. That's all.
I know we've got 5 minutes to go. This is why I'm researching my internet. So anyways, I'm happy to joint answer with Sandra. One of the things that I am is a wordsmith. So, and here's where I got hung up. And again, is the word cure.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it's saying that there's something wrong with anxiety and we need to get rid of it. And I think the point I was trying to make before the internet challenged us, I always figured there's a galactic kind of thing happening. But anyways, so here's the thing is, and I want to invite everybody to bring in anxiety. So instead, like our culture teaches us to push away unpleasant feelings. And if we can look at these unpleasant things in our life as opportunities to grow and, question them and bring them in and ask them and say, what are you trying to teach me? So there's where I kind of had a little reaction to the word cure is it changes anxiety, because if I can bring in anxiety, and believe me, I have anxiety, and I don't like the feeling. I have to tell you that I don't like it. However, I bring it in and I just say, okay, you're here again. What is it that you're trying to tell me? What is it that I need to pay attention to? And as soon as I do that, it goes down a couple notches. It doesn't go away until I listen to what I need to do. And that's some of the things we're going to talk about in these sessions. So anyways, I got hung up with the word cure. I don't think it's something to be cured. And I think it's something just to be understood. And it can be an opportunity. So Sandra, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, just Anita's got a good point here.
Yeah, I think along those lines, I think, when we talk about cure, as Elke said, we're talking about more of a medical model approach to these symptoms or these experiences we're having that have been labeled anxiety. But maybe perhaps just based on the wordsmithing, if instead of saying cure, we could say befriend. If we can befriend our anxiety, if we can befriend the sensations in our body and learn from them, and it's not something that we need to get rid of, but rather understand. And I think through that process, perhaps it becomes less and less of a problem, perhaps. So just sort of wanted to add that to what Elke was saying.
And I just wanted to close with that to say, anxiety is experiential, and we always seem to follow the way we've experienced in the past, is taking the same, letting it lead us to a place that we're not comfortable with. So just what you said, Elke and Anita both, if we can stop the pattern and learn something new in a new way of changing the reality of what that anxiety is doing to us, then that is an approach. It's like, you weren't born to learn how to drive, or you didn't know how to drive when you were born, but you learned it. And that was after maybe you had a couple of accidents, maybe you did this, but whatever way, you stopped to correct those behaviors, right? And that's kind of how I look at it, is trying to stop your mind from taking you down the same chaotic path.
Absolutely. And so to recap, the 0 to 10 scale practice, if you think of it this week, have a fabulous weekend and think about some exercise. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about anxiety, though what I'd like you to do, if you've got some time, because I know it takes a bit of time, and I just want to show you, start gathering pictures for things that you wish for or are drawn to. So I'm just showing a couple pictures here. And they're just collages from magazines. And so it's kind of fun to, if you can, start collecting some pictures that you're drawn to. That's all that you have. If it pleases you and you enjoy it, start cutting out, and whether it's words or whatever, and we'll have some fun with it. And no pressure, just if it's fun and you'd like to do it. So thank you. I think today was just amazing. I just love all the input, and let's keep it doing. And this is collective. We are doing this all together. This I couldn't do this without you. So I'm learning too. Yes, thank you so much. And I will have backup internet by then. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone.
Elke, and thank everyone for attending, and we hope to hear from you next week. Thanks, and don't hesitate to call if you have any follow-up questions you'd like to pursue. Thank you, Elke.
Absolutely.
And thank you,
Yep.
Nathan.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Nathan.
My pleasure. Take care, everyone.
Yeah.